Hi, I'm Jonathan Lariviere. I'm the CEO of Scoot Science. Scoot is a team of oceanographers, data scientists, and agroeconomists that help marine operators manage ocean risk and ocean uncertainty.
Thanks for joining us. The team at Scoot kind of comes from a really interesting background, and are obviously working on some really interesting problems. Can you tell us a little bit about the company and your guys' kind of origin story?
Yeah, I'm an oceanographer, and I founded Scoot Science with friends from graduate school at UC Santa Cruz. And we have built a team that is focused on understanding extreme ocean events. So sometimes we call it underwater weather, extreme events like low oxygen waters and large temperature swings and strong subsurface currents. All kinds of events that affect the day-to-day operations of groups that carry out their business on the ocean. So our primary customers are fish farming groups, and they are subjected to, oftentimes multi-million dollar losses because of extreme underwater weather. And our team helps them understand the impact of those extreme weather events, but also helps them do analytics and forecasting for those events.
Perfect. So, can you talk to me a little bit more about I know you guys I think started at the university and kind of came through that environment. How you guys founded it, what you guys were looking to do, and kind of a little bit about maybe the history of the founders on the team.
Yeah, so the oceans are considered by many people to be black box. Like you can think of the standard picture that you have of an old whaling captain, like out on the oceans. It's an adventure and a dirty job, and there's a lot of risk involved. Well, that idea of risk still exists today, and ocean operators, uh, uh, the culture of ocean operations. And it's kind of in contrast to the way an oceanographer looks at the ocean. So when an oceanographer has good ocean observing, so good measurements of temperature and salinity and oxygen, then they can start to get an understanding of the frequency and severity of the ocean risks that affect businesses on the oceans. And so at Scoot, the team that came together said, well, if we work with customers that have pretty good monitoring of temperature and salinity and oxygen and plankton and the chemistry of the oceans, we can actually help them understand how their business is coupled to changes in any one of those variables. And so that's what we do. We offer analytics and forecasting to groups that already have been measuring ocean conditions, but have been kind of overwhelmed by the amount of data and the kind of data that's coming in when you start to have good understanding of essential ocean variables.
Yeah, so clearly you guys have a great team, with a lot of technical expertise in analytics and in with ocean sciences. I guess why airCFO and how did we kind of fit into the puzzle?
Well, spun up, we started working on Scoot nights and weekends back in 2013. And at the time, the folks working on Scoot, myself, and Scoot's co-founders, all had day jobs at universities. So I was teaching. Our CTO, Evan Goodwin, was a development engineer at Scripps. And we would spend our nights and weekends, doing customer discovery and working on our value prop in the ocean space. And when we got to the point where I was the first one to stop teaching and go full time on Scoot. Right? When we got to the point where we had conviction and a little bit of pre-seed funding behind us, we said, "Great, we're starting a business, and we have no experience with managing the finances of a business. We were learning about, product development and solving pain points for customers, but when it came to the day to day of managing the business's finances, no one on the team had experience with that, and so we had a recommendation from a friend that already worked with airCFO, saying, you know what, for the stage you're at, and really this is like one full-time employee and a little bit of pre-seed funding, airCFO has been amazing, and they've helped us with fractional CFO services and also accounting, in ways that have enabled us to get through a bigger pre-seed round and hiring a team and then raising a seed round. I think they'd be a really good fit for you. And so we connected with their CFO at the very, very beginning of um, uh, the Scoot's life. I'd say.
So I guess what does that relationship kind of evolve to? Because obviously we we've been working together now for almost 2 years, I think, right?
So we've been working with their CFO since 2018, I think, and the very beginning. The team at airCFO just helped me understand how to manage our expenses and have our payroll up and running and manage our tax registrations, navigate taxes, and then actually how to navigate some of the first outside investment that we brought in, and do our first invoicing, our first management of revenue with customers. And then since then, since the earliest days, we've worked, Michael, with you directly on the CFO side, to do scenario modeling, to prepare for fundraising, and now we've gone through a couple of rounds of fundraising with you, so that we even most recently have worked through our first price round of fundraising. So we've done a lot of work with you on the investment side, but then also we have grown our customer base and grown our revenue, and so alongside you, really evolved in how we work with bringing revenues into Scoot, and then on the side of managing the business, how we're going to forecast revenues and plan for the coming months. So that's that, and that falls under the CFO category. We also have used your CFO's accounting and bookkeeping the whole time. So Cynthia is our amazing bookkeeper, our CFO, and she has really, along with doing the accounting and bookkeeping and compliance for Scoot, she's really taught me. She's taught Evan, or really taught us, the ins and outs of what bookkeeping and accounting looks like for a business. So I feel like we've done, just a lot of learning from the airCFO team, and then we've actually used airCFO for all of our tax work. So I'm delighted to say that we've worked with the airCFO team on our R&D tax credits, for example, along with our federal tax filings, and we really use airCFO for the full suite of services.
What does a average month look like working with us?
Well, an average month, we have a monthly meeting where we look at the accounts from the previous month, and we go through with Cynthia any of the notable changes in our expenses or revenues. We look at our burn rate, our runway, and then any compliance issues that that need attending to. Mainly, I think we have employees that are spread all over the country, and we also have employees in Canada, and there's a number of state by state tax registrations that that we have to pay attention to, and we work on with Cynthia each month. And then we also spend time with you, Michael, on our financial modeling and forecasting for the upcoming months. Um, I think the cadence for our meetings oftentimes are more than monthly, especially if we have a lot of activity going on around new revenue or investment, and then we sit down and dig into the model. Uh, and we've done a lot of work refining the model with you as we've added new products and services onto.
What do you think the most valuable thing that kind of airCFO provides to Scoot?
Well, I think I mentioned a little bit the education. So I think that we've just really benefited from the airCFO team teaching new, uh, you know, new founders, especially founders that are coming from, coming from the academic world. We've just had a lot of teaching moments with airCFO where you and Cynthia have sat down with us and said, "All right, like this is what we want to aim for managing Scoot's business. Here's where we're at now. Here's the pathway to get to where we're going, and we're going to teach you the whole context for this and why it matters." And then we've also gotten a lot of, I guess I think of it as calibration from your team around expectations that we should have of other vendors that we interact with while we're running the business. So, their CFO team is able to sit down with us and help us understand, what we can expect from other vendors. We have lots of discussions around pricing, whether it's pricing from other vendors or the pricing that we're going to use for our products, with our customers. So it's really that mix of kind of education and this calibration point for us that I think is most valuable.
So obviously the $1 million question, would you recommend an early stage startup company work with us? And
The answer is we do. We currently recommend airCFO, and we've actually been a part of a conversation recently where some folks, other portfolio companies from some of our investors have said we're actually really struggling with finding a fractional CFO. We're too early to hire a CFO. We need a fractional CFO, and we've had a tough time finding a good fit there. And I've been able to recommend their CFO and actually lay out for them, well, here's the evolution that we've had with their CFO. If you're really early stage, like that, this is a group that can work with you and then can help you grow, just like we have. So if you are an early stage company looking for a fractional CFO and someone to help you understand bookkeeping and really the ins and outs of running a new business, then I recommend airCFO. They've been a great team to work with, and they've been with us through a lot of growth at Scoot Science, from me being the only employee to now we have a team of 16, and we work with some of the biggest salmon producers in the world.
Jonathan, thanks so much for joining us, and it's been a pleasure working with you guys and seeing Scoot's growth. We know that you guys are just still kind of at the very early outset, but the opportunity in front of you is truly as big as the ocean. So excited to continue our relationship, and happy to work with you guys each week.
It is, yeah. I mean, the same here. We really enjoy working with Michael and Cynthia, and yeah, happy to be able to continue doing that.